Tonight, we're learning more about the 3 people who were inside a Civil Air Patrol plane today when it went down in Larimer County. 2 people were killed, another was hurt. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. I'm Mark Salinger. It happened this morning in northern Colorado near Storm Mountain. That's where you find 9 News reporter Colton Chavez live this evening. And Colton, we're learning new information.
That's right, Mark, and what we're learning is that this plane crash happened during a search and rescue training exercise. But what we're also learning is that one of the pilots and a photographer on board did not survive the crash, and as for the other pilot, they had to be airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. Pieces of this small Cessna plane scattered throughout the trees as first responders searched on the ground for the wreckage.
So we have crews that train for this kind of thing.
The Larimer County Sheriff's Office responded, along with members of the National Guard. They found Randall Settergren, one of the pilots, with serious injuries. The other pilot, Susan Wolber, was killed, along with aerial photographer Jay Roten. The Larimer County Sheriff's Office says the crash site is difficult to access, even dangerous.
Recovery will likely last the next few days. Just because of where the location is, it really is in steep and just really difficult terrain to get people out there and get those groups out there to assist with that.
The next step is an investigation into what caused the plane to crash.
We will be working with the FAA and the NTSB in order to kind of look into those details and figure out what happened and what that looks like.
Now, the Civil Air Patrol is a civilian unit which is part of the U.S. Air Force, which means that all of the people that were on that plane were volunteers. Everyone that I've talked to today can agree that this is a very sad situation, and we will keep you updated on any new information that we get a hold of. Live in Larimer County, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
Yeah, real tragedy as we wait to learn more about exactly what happened. Our thoughts are with the families who are missing their loved ones this evening. Colton, thank you. Police in Aurora say a man is facing charges for causing a deadly crash this morning. It happened at the intersection of Tower Road and 40th Avenue. Aurora police say a black Jeep was speeding on Tower Road when it crashed with a Chevy Cobalt, causing the Jeep to roll over. Both drivers were taken to the hospital where the driver of the Cobalt died. After being released from the hospital, the driver of the Jeep will be taken to jail on a separate outstanding warrant and charges related to the crash. Another bad crash on Highway 285 through Conifer today. It continues to live up to its dangerous reputation moving through the mountains. A woman was killed last night after a crash with an XL Energy truck. According to CSP, the woman was driving southbound on the highway when she crossed into the northbound lanes. Troopers say she crashed head-on into the truck. There were 2 young passengers in that truck with her. They were treated for minor injuries. The XL truck driver was also treated at the hospital for suffering minor injuries. A semi-truck that crashed through a fence and ended up feet from a home in Sunnyside may have startled people in that neighborhood, but it really didn't surprise them. As 9 News reporter Ria Jha shows us, it happened before. In fact, neighbors say they've been asking CDOT to fix this problem for years.
So there's obviously accidents happening along this stretch quite frequently.
Another hole in the fence.
Yeah, now we have a big hole.
A semi-truck crashed through the guardrail and into the Sunnyside neighborhood Friday night, leaving 3 people hospitalized. People who've lived here for some time, like Natasha Bueller
4 years.
and David Hughes,
30 years.
say this crash wasn't a question of if, but when.
A sound barrier wall definitely would have stopped it.
For more than a decade, this community has been urging CDOT to put in a more protective barrier between them and one of Colorado's busiest highways.
There's a guardrail and this wooden dilapidated fence.
Dilapidated. It's a word that's defined this fence since August 2013, when a neighbor first emailed CDOT to replace it.
To feel safer, because this isn't the first time a car has come through the fence.
One of these holes is from 2019, when a car came crashing through in the same area.
Either accidents happening, or I feel like the fence is so old that it's kind of just falling apart on its own.
Neighbors have reached out to city officials, district and state representatives on top of filing reports with CDOT. This year, CDOT began installing a new guardrail and noise wall along several parts of I-70 to increase safety. The project hasn't gotten here yet.
They've done the other side on the north side of the highway, and they are proposed to do this side also. It might be almost maybe 6 more months.
This section will be installed in March of next year. Until then, neighbors are just hoping for no more holes.
It should have already been done.
This is Ria Jha reporting. After Friday's crash, 3 people were taken to the hospital. We don't know how they're doing tonight. Denver police is still investigating the cause of that crash. Moving to the weather now. It was a warm and beautiful day here in Denver and all across the state. Looked at the sunset tonight to top it all off as well. 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen is joining us this evening. And Corey, let's just say happy birthday to you. It's a beautiful day outside.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to be here with you on my birthday here. It's a great day, just a really warm day across the area and another spectacular sunset. This one out in Logan County. Sterling was a little bit cooler today. They hit a high of 57, but here in Denver, we hit a high temperature of 71 degrees officially. That's 21 degrees warmer than our average temperature and just 2 degrees off the all-time record set back in 1915. We do have some changes on the doorstep here. We'll have some mountain snow starting tomorrow morning. We're expecting light accumulation through the day Sunday into Monday, likely about 2 to 10 inches on some of the mountain passes, 1 to 5 in the mountain towns. On the Front Range impacts, that'll start tomorrow night. We could get a little bit of rain showers leading into some flurries in the morning. Low impact stuff here for us some tomorrow night into Monday, but Wednesday, that's the storm that we're watching that has a better potential, and that's why we have a potential weather impact day coming, and I'll tell you about that coming up in the forecast.
Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is walking back his comments suggesting Denver police would try and stop a mass deportation by federal forces. Yet Johnston says he expects that people in Denver would resist, and he would too, even if it means going to jail.
Would I have taken it back if I could? Yes, I probably wouldn't have used that image because that's an image I hope we can avoid. What I was trying to say is this is an outcome I hope we can avoid in this country. I think none of us want that.
So the mayor told Denverite this week if President-elect Donald Trump makes good on his promises to send in a federal force to deport every single person here without documentation, then, quote, more than us having DPD stationed at the county line to keep them out, you would have 50,000 Denverites there. It's like the Tiananmen Square moment with the rose and the gun, right? The mayor told me yesterday they don't currently have a plan if President Trump sends federal forces into Denver to round people up who haven't committed any crimes other than being in the country illegally. Johnston said they should have a plan by Inauguration Day.